I've been getting a lot of comments lately regarding what rogue builds are the best in the new season, so let's go over the variety of rogue builds that are currently good and also how the new hearts affect them. Spoiler alert, the patch notes didn't affect the class and associated builds too much, unlike some other classes, neither in a positive or a negative way, so from a balancing point of view, not much has changed. With that in mind, these will be the best rogue builds out there right now that are currently popping off, and I'm going to start off with the most underrated build in my opinion that should get much more shine because it's just that good. But first, I have a great giveaway for you guys, as Skytech Gaming, Intel and Signal RGB have come together to bring you this Diablo 4 inspired PC. The swirling potions inside react to your health and resources in real time. This is made possible by the Signal RGB app, which syncs RGB devices from any brand to bring you a cohesive lighting experience. The Skytech team designed and 3D printed this custom PC with performance and cooling in mind. This hand-painted chest contains the 13th gen Intel 13600K and the RTX 4070, giving you all the legendary hardware that you need to defeat Lilith and save Sanctuary. If you want to enter this epic giveaway, just click the link in the video description below. So I said I would start with the most underrated build, and this is in my opinion Barrage. I think any Barrage oriented and focused build is definitely S+ tier. It is a really good ability and is up to par with the other meta builds that have emerged for the rogue class. What makes Barrage so good is that it's probably the best rogue ability out there when you make a new character right out of the gate. Reason being, it doesn't require anything, no gear, no aspects to start blasting with it, unlike say Twisting Blades or Penetrating Shot. You just put it on and start destroying everything and you'll start leveling with it really quickly. But then over time it actually just becomes better and better, and it becomes even better when you start min-maxing your gear or when you reach level 100 and have done everything there is to do. What makes Barrage so good as well is that it's also the only rogue ability that can be used both as a shotgun type of ability but also a ranged multi-shot type of ability, and that means it clears very good for AoE, but it's also a really good ability for single target damage and just killing bosses. I would also like to say that video footage doesn't really do the ability justice. You need to try it out in game as well to really feel the oomph of this ability and build. Due to Barrage's properties of being multifunctional as both a close range nuke and a distant destructive ability, it functions very well in a triple imbuement build, because running triple imbuement and Barrage means you will have a solution to every single scenario in the game, which is also a build I actually made on my channel that is really good for season 1. So check that build and video out if you want to know more about the Barrage build for a rogue. The next build on the list is going to be Penetrating Shot. Nothing changed for the Penetrating Shot build. Yes, a new bow was introduced with the name of Eaglehorn, but it's a hard pass bow. It being a bow means the innate affix of it is not that useful, and the aspect itself is really just bad. First, it requires you to be in like a tight space to actually get some use out of it, and you need to position yourself in a way that the ricochets from the wall actually hit something instead of just bouncing around in the area. Then however, it is not even a guaranteed effect. It is a chance-based effect with a huge range from 30% all the way to 80%. This aspect being on your two-hander then also means that from a opportunity cost perspective, it is even worse, because you can't utilize your two-handed slot to get that 100% bonus unlike an actual aspect, like for example Edge Masters, which you will miss out on if you run this bow. So in multiple ways, it's just a bad option. The best Penetrating Shot build out there is then still the one I put out last week for a variety of reasons, but essentially the build has everything you need. It is great for AoE, great for single target damage, has great survivability and tankiness, great mobility, and it also makes great use of Bursting Venoms, which is an aspect that I've incorporated into the build and has actually really good synergy with Penetrating Shot. It provides you so much utility and damage output as well. So if you want to know more about all of that, just check out that video and you will have a great experience following that build. I have also an early game build that combines both Penetrating Shot and Barrage if you're interested in that as well. It is essentially the fastest way to level as a ranged rogue, and it's really fun. The next build on the list revolves around Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire is just still good. We can keep it really short right here. The ability pumps in a variety of scenarios, and nothing really significantly changed for Rapid Fire in regards to how you play it through these patch notes. If you want a good example of a Rapid Fire build, check out the Machine Gun Rainbow Rogue build, which is a Rapid Fire and Rain of Arrows combo build, and in my opinion also the best way to build a Rapid Fire build right now. It also covers you for any situation really, and has great synergies through Rapid Fire being a good single target damage type of ability but having some AoE components, and then Rain of Arrows on the other hand being a great AoE damage type of ability but also having some great single target components that when you use these two abilities together creates this really destructive build where both elements synergize really well with each other. Rapid Fire is also, by the way, a completely self-sustaining ability because you can generate essence through one of its passives, so it only makes sense to run Rain of Arrows with it, since we then can accordingly also run preparation. Check that video out if you want to know about all of the details and if you want a good example of a rapid fire build for Season 1. Then we have Twisting Blades. It was meta pre-season and nothing changed in that regards either, definitely not. Yes, Siphoning Strikes got a nerf, but you won't notice too much of it when playing Twisting Blades. It is a pretty trivial nerf, all things considered, and you still want to use it anyways. Twisting Blades then also doesn't really need an introduction since it's still the most popular rogue build out there, but essentially there are two variations of the build. I'll put links to both versions in the description. One utilizes imbuements while the other is a trap-based Twisting Blades build, and both are really good and also really fast leveling builds. The strategy for Twisting Blades is really simple. You move from pack to pack, use Twisting Blades, blow up everything, and you win. Nothing really changed regarding the Twisting Blade builds or the meta. Finally, we have one more core skill that we didn't mention yet, and it's Flurry. And even for Flurry, there are definitely viable builds out there. It was the case pre-season, but it's still definitely the case in Season 1. Just from reading the patch notes, I don't see anything in there that would hurt Flurry otherwise. Again, the Siphoning Strike nerf can be a bit annoying for our Flurry enjoyers out there, but keep in mind, Flurry has that innate heal already, and you can now use the Caged Heart of Revenge, for example, one of the new hearts of the Malignant Heart mechanic in the game, to compensate for the Siphoning Strike nerfs. But outside of that, Flurry is still in a good spot, which is great because it means every rogue core skill has viable builds. Now, the reason why nothing really changed for rogue builds is one, because the patch notes didn't really hurt them that much, but also because the Malignant Hearts aren't really like a meta-defining mechanic. They are more like enhancements to builds in a similar sense like some of the legendary aspects that just increase your damage output. So pretty much it just means more power to the builds, but not really a shift in how you actually play these builds or make them, which I guess is a bit of a negative for every rogue player out there who just wanted to try out something new, but can also be positive because everything you know is still relevant. Hearts you definitely want to consider using for a rogue this season are then, first of all, the Caged Heart of the Vile Apothecary. All the builds I linked pretty much use imbuements, so this adds a ton of synergy to those builds already. It's just a good heart. For example, if you take my Barrage build with triple imbuements, just imagine how much value you get from this heart running it in conjunction with 3 different imbuements. The Caged Heart of Revenge is also a really good heart for survivability. It adds a ton of damage reduction to your build, which is great to offset nerfs to survivability. Caged Heart of the Malignant Pact is also a great option. It essentially cycles through 3 different bonuses for your rogue that are all just really good. One helps out with damage output, the second one helps with essence regeneration, and the third one helps out with survivability. Then Tempting Fate is a nice one as well in the end game when you really want to start raking up your crits. Definitely not a good option early on though, as your crit chance won't be high enough to consistently benefit from the increased critical strike damage from this heart, and you'll just end up making your build worse, as it will in fact nerf your normal damage output. So keep that in mind, that is a very important distinction. Finally, Caged Heart of Creeping Death is a nice one as well if you have poison imbuement in your kit, so dependent on the build. Most of the builds I referred to in this video do however use poison imbuement, so you definitely want to consider using it if you use one of those builds, because it gives you basically a ton of extra poison damage, which is nice versus beefy targets. And with that, these 5 Malignant Hearts are the ones that you want to keep in mind, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think about these hearts, and if you so far have liked other hearts that I have not personally mentioned, and also what your experiences have been with this new season. Are you happy or are you disappointed? Make sure to like and subscribe, you know how it goes.